5:30. I call this meeting of the Northwest Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that the meeting has been duly called, and that notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551. The board will convene in closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 551, including sections 551.071, consultation with the board's attorney, and 551.072 real estate matters, and 551.074 personnel matters, and 551.076 security devices or security audits. Now we will move to closed session. Welcome everyone. It's 6:30, so we're going to reconvene into our regular meeting. Dr. Warren?
All right, if everybody will please stand. Good to see everybody. Thank you for being with us tonight. We really do appreciate it. All right, if you feel comfortable doing so, please pray with me. Our dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for this day. And Lord, thank you for allowing us to be here, to be a part of our school district. Thank you for our board members tonight, Lord. You know how much time they put into our children. Thank you for our parents that are here, our staff, and our students that are here tonight. We just ask that you bless this meeting and that you see us safely home. Above all thing else, just give your love, your guidance, your wisdom, and your protection to our children. It's in your name we pray. Amen. All right, folks, we have two very special guests with us, two 8th graders from, 8th graders right now, but soon to be freshmen, correct? All right, so Abigail, Nick, get up there at the podium. So, folks, this is Abigail Springfield. She's an 8th grader at Medlin Middle School. You said your mom's in the car, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, she said she just worked out. She was okay. So, okay. Abigail gave the best possible answer to her favorite subjects. All right, Dr. Myers, where are you? I saw you here. Dr. Myers, here's some future Bobcats. Her favorite subjects, I honestly love all of them.
She's going to be a student council rep next year.
Nice, very nice. So what does she like to do? She likes being a part of Stuco. She loves volunteering, going to the lake, spending time with her friends and her dogs, and she loves to read. Great. Abigail, this is what your principal said about you. Abby is our student council president and has made a huge impact on our campus and in the community. Abby, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And then Nick Schwam, thank you for being here, Nick, 8th grader at Midland. Don, are we here? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. And then his favorite subjects are science and history. Good job, Nick. What I like to do is football, all sports, and video games. Nice. This is what your principal said, Nick. He is an ambassador and has served as our campus improvement committee. Nick is an outstanding student and represents Medlin well. Good job. Very good. So let's do the pledge to the American flag and then the Texas flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. All right, y'all stay put. We got a little gift for you. Everybody can be seated. Thank you.
Okay, our first item on the agenda is election of new officers, and I'm going to turn that over to Mark Sluter.
Madam President, would it be okay if I make one motion?
Microphone, please. Microphone, please. We need to put this on record.
Madam President, would it be okay if I made one motion concerning all three of these?
Yes.
Well, it is with the great excitement that I move to designate Judy Kopp as President of Northwest ISD Board of Trustees, Dr. Ann Davis Simpson as Vice President of Northwest ISD Board of Trustees, and Dr. Lillian Roush as Secretary of the Northwest ISD Board of Trustees.
What a huge shakeup.
Really? Oh. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Sluter and a second by Mr. Hastings. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Carries 6-0.
All right, thank you, Board.
Mr. Sluter. All right, and then at your place there is our board considerations for the dates for the meetings this next year and the different designees for, I have Deanne Hatfield as our delegate for the TASB Delegate Assembly with Ron Hastings as alternate, Steve Sproles to represent us at the district at the City of Fort Worth Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone number 2. I have Mark Sluter to be our representative for the North Texas Council of Government General Assembly. Lillian Rouse is our representative for Communities and Schools, and myself for representative for Northwest ISD Education Foundation. Is there any discussion or any questions or any changes? If not, I need
Madam President,
Dr. Roush.
I motion to approve the Board Nominating Committee's recommendation for the following. Do I read all of them?
You don't have to read them. Okay.
Like you already said. Okay.
Okay. I have a motion by Dr. Roush, a second by Mr. Sluter to have the representatives I just read off on our list for this next school year. All those in favor? Carry 6-0.
Thank you, Board.
Okay, our next item is the best part, recognitions. Dr. Warren?
Yes, we have quite a few, so if you would both like to join us down at the front. We're going to start off by recognizing 2 elementary campuses for being named the Leader in Me Lighthouse Schools by the Franklin Covey Company. So as I call your name, please come to the front. So we have from Seven Hills Elementary School, Principal Kim Blackburn, Assistant Principal Tanya Ledger, the Counselor and Student Lighthouse Team Facilitator Jennifer Morales, the Student Lighthouse Team Facilitator and Gates Teacher Nicole Wallace, Lighthouse Team Facilitator and 4th grade teacher Kevin Austin, Lighthouse Team Facilitator and 2nd grade teacher Laura Sammons, and our PACE teacher and Student Lighthouse Team Facilitator Amy Fine. And from Prairie View Elementary School, we have Principal Yolanda Wallace, and Prairie View Elementary School Lighthouse leaders Jessica Doe, Tiffany Yostin, Lane Gage, Cameron Taylor, Amanda Hughes, and Rashida Contreras. Through this program, both schools adopted a transformation model that empowers students with leadership and life skills. Students have been able to deliver speeches about their academic achievement and leadership roles during a Leader in Me symposium earlier this year. This honor signifies the school's positive student response to the program's leadership and emotional development initiatives. Congratulations. Okay, next I'd like to invite Tammy McClure to come to the front, and I think her principal, Dr. Ron Myers, is here as well if you want to join her. The Texas Association of Student Councils has named Ms. McClure as the winner of its Eddie G. Bull State Advisor of the Year Award for her contributions to students as Byron Nelson High School's Student Council Advisor. Congratulations. Next, we'd like to invite up from Thompson Elementary School, Marcy Conrad, and I believe her principal's here as well, Dr. Leanne Romer. There she is. HEB Lifetime Achievement Award for Elementary Teachers is part of HEB's Excellence in Education Award, and Ms. Conrad was named one of 5 finalists across the state to receive this honor. She was recognized in Austin earlier this month. Congratulations. Okay, I'd like to invite our Human Resources Department up to the front for our next recognition. We will be recognizing our guest educators next. So each of these individuals were selected by each campus as the Guest Educator of the Year. They will receive a document containing comments by the campus as to why they were chosen, as well as an NISD Great Guest Educator t-shirt donated by Suzanne Ratcliffe at EPI, who's one of our partners in education. So when I call your name, please come to the front. And also afterwards, we will be taking photos outside of the boardroom, I believe with your principal too, so be looking for Mr. Tosi. All right, from Beck Elementary, Amy Cohorn. From Cox Elementary, Jill Chambers. From Curtis Elementary, Daryl Otis. From Granger Elementary, Nazarene Salad. From Haslett Elementary, Terry Yarborough. From Hatfield Elementary, Melissa Sheffield. From Hughes Elementary, Allison Reyna. From Justin Elementary, Wendy Brock. From Lakeview Elementary, Golda Hoffman. From Love Elementary, Sarah Polo. From Nance Elementary, Kim Mock. From Peterson Elementary, Jenny Wells. From Prairie View Elementary, Veronica Torres. From Roanoke Elementary, Dawn Mizine. From Schluter Elementary, Unique Sonamaker. Sorry, I want to make sure I pronounce that. From Sendera Ranch Elementary, Natalie Reyes. From Seven Hills Elementary, Jim Crows. From Thompson Elementary, Chrysonda Peaches Williamson. From Chisholm Trail Middle School, Sonika Sanger Prasher. From Medlin Middle School, Alicia Simmons. From Pike Middle School, Rory Thomas. From Wilson Middle School, Kate Hale. From Byron Nelson High School, Eileen Olivier. From Eaton High School, Willie Reynolds. From Northwest High School, Brandy Day. From Steele Accelerated High School, Corey Martin. And from Denton Creek High School, Jelka Crotcher. And we'll take photographs outside the boardroom with all our guest educators with Anthony as soon as we're finished. So next, I'd like to invite Phil Beckman to the front, and we will do our Partners in Education recognition.
Good evening. At this time, I'd like to invite Samuel Beck Elementary School Principal Dr. Sandy Conklin and Chisholm Trail Middle School Principal Dr. Matrice Raven and their PTA presidents, if they're here, to join us up front, please. Here she comes. All right. So Beck Elementary School and Chisholm Trail Middle School are the elementary and secondary PI volunteer campuses of the year based on total hours logged per student. So the two campuses logged a combined 14,444 volunteer hours from May 1st, 2018 to April 30th, 2019. The current estimate for the value of a volunteer hour in Texas is $25.10. The volunteers at these two schools have saved NISD more than $362,000. And that concludes our PI recognition.
Okay, our next item is the State PTA Council report. Dr. Warren?
Board, we're going to take the reports a little bit out of order because Carrie Ann needs to go be a parent tonight. She's got a senior function for Eaton High School, correct, Carrie Ann? Board, this is the second year that 2 years as board as the president.
That's correct.
Carrie Ann has been coming to us. This is a report that she gives each year. The president gives each year, and we're very appreciative of her coming again to do that and of her efforts.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. I mouthed over to Tim McClure. I was excited that I had an audience tonight, but so much for picture taking in the hallway. But I have really enjoyed my time as serving as council president the last 2 years. 2 years before that, I served as the vice president of council, and the 2 years prior to that, served as the arts and education chair for our district, running the Reflections program. And so it is a pleasure and an honor to get to serve alongside of you, to be able to put kids first. And what I wanted to just bring to you tonight, each of you have a copy of the superintendent's report. This was sent directly to Dr. Warren by Kyle Ward, who is the president, he's the chief officer, paid employee of Texas PTA, and he just sent this information as a snapshot of what our awards were as of May 1st, 2019. The membership year actually goes all the way until July 31st, with the new membership year starting on August 1st, so we still have some campuses that are working on some May awards for alumni and so forth. There are also a few campuses that were not in good standing at the time that the awards were calculated, but we can see now that the status of all 28 of our PTAs are in good standing, meaning they have at least 20 active members and they have paid their taxes on time and reported their officers to Texas PTA. So that is great news for us. The last sheet on your report is just a summary of what the awards represent and what those initials are. So I just wanted to kind of summarize for you, as a council PTA, we represent and support the 28 PTAs, now 29 PTAs in our district, as we have officially started the Lance Thompson Elementary PTA, and they had a record-breaking 40 members join on the first day, doubling the minimum of 20, so that was very exciting. Each of these PTAs, the 28 that we served this year, collectively raised more than $980,000 and supported an average budget of $35,000 per campus to provide the parent education, student programming, and some school gifts, things like water bottle fillers for a lot of the water fountains, which has been a great addition to help bring our older campuses up to the standards of the newer campuses have, that has been wildly appreciated. We did have an overall increase, which marks a 6-year increase of our total membership of 7,381 members as of May 1st, that exceeded our goal from last year, which was 6,896. Our goal as a council is, and as Texas PTA, is to have one voice for every child. And with 24,000 students in the district, we are certainly shy of that one voice per child mark, and we will continue to work to meet that number. There are several school districts across the state who have earned that distinction of one voice for every child, and I know that Northwest can do it as well. With those numbers, there were 16 schools that had an increase and 12 schools that represented a decrease. Some of that might have only been a decrease of 1 or 2, so that number is represented on the report that you have. We also, with the addition of 2 new schools, that has been helped us a great deal with the addition of Curtis Elementary and Adams Middle School. The most exciting thing on the report is we had 7 schools that reached the Golden Apple Award, and the Golden Apple is where every single administrator and teacher has joined the PTA. And that would certainly be our goal for all 28 or 29 schools. As you look at across it, the awards, we have some outstanding achievements in our membership honor rolls, with our highest schools being in the 250 plus members. We're honored Schluter Elementary, Haslett Elementary, Justin Elementary, Granger Elementary, Roanoke Elementary, and Wilson Middle School. And one school, which happened to earn our PTA of the Year, which was Eaton High School, that won 13 collective awards, and the only one in our district to win the 500 plus member award. So congratulations to Eaton PTSA. As in our spring awards ceremony, we also recognized Ron Myers as Principal of the Year, and Brathy Turi with the Heart of PTA Award that goes to an employee of the school district who goes above and beyond their call of duty to represent the PTAs. And we had Dr. Warren was also nominated for that award this year, so thank you to you, Dr. Warren, for your support of that. We also had 2 additional school board members with Dr. Simpson and Steve Sproles, who also won the Joining Hands Awards for their participation with us and their support of the PTA. So thank you to those 2 board of trustees. Bethany Turi accompanied us at the Rally Day, Texas PTA Rally Day, where we took a school bus, not a school bus, a very nice charter bus that was provided to us from Reliant Transportation. We so appreciated them providing that, so the 30 of us that went down, including 14 students, could have a comfortable ride with great movies, an energetic driver, and so that we could represent our school district, our students and teachers and administrators and parents as we rallied. The parents and the adults rallied in one area and the students rallied in another area. We walked together and met at the Capitol steps and marched up to the Capitol steps together with about 5,000 of our closest PTA friends. And we had the opportunity to let our students get to meet with Tan Parker and Matt Krause, and we also were able to take a photo with Senator Nelson and met with one of her apprentices as well. So it was a great opportunity for our students to be able to express their voice and show their support of our initiatives, which all of our initiatives matched Northwest ISD's goals and objectives, with one additional one where we are asking for the funding for school safety to be in the hands of the district to be able to use some of those funds for mental wellness opportunities, so that if we identify students that have a higher risk for potential harm, that we can address that and use that to support our school safety. We also awarded Shauna Shipman the Jareen Nail Volunteer of the Year Award for her support of the Angel Tree program that we have helped facilitate as me as the coordinator of the Angel Tree program, together with Partners in Education, where we served over 900 children this year in the program and coordinated a host of over 100 volunteers, and I thank you to those of you that have also supported that program. In addition to the parent education, our vendor and health fair that we host in the spring to be able to bring some free health screenings and such to our families, we also hosted a spring candidate forum in which Ms. Hatfield was able to be a part of, and we had a record-breaking number of views and shares on that. Phyllis, do you know what that number is? But it was, yeah, well over 1,000 views. So it told us that videoing it, Facebook Living it, definitely got more people than could fit into the Northwest High School library. So that was exciting, and congratulations to you as well, Ms. Haspel. We hosted a holiday soiree, which several went to at Trophy Club Country Club, provided free of charge by Trophy Club Country Club, and we appreciate our partnership with them as well. We had 2 new chair positions that were added this year on a temporary basis and were just added permanently, which is our SAGE chair, which is for special and gifted educators, education support for parents and educators, as well as a diversity and inclusion chair that are now permanent positions on our board, which we're excited to see come forward. Pardon me. We made an extra effort this year pardon me. All the tears are shed at the steel, I know. I did our final steel awards this year, and I cried all morning. And in the middle of the awards, Jill Warren texts me, and she's like, "Hey, how are you doing? Do you want to go to lunch today?" I said, "Did Ryder just text you and say, she's losing it down there? You better check in on Carrie Ann." So I got to enjoy a nice lunch, thanks to your wife today, and for my emotional wreckage. So as the first of my 5 children is graduating, so I have shed an extra amount of tears lately. Anyway, we have provided some extra effort in support of our DEAP in Denton Creek. We made a request to Texas PTA to be able to start a separate PTA to be able to support those two campuses that don't have an on-site PTA, to be able to create a community-based support group for them. And at this time, Texas PTA has recommended that we don't start that as a separate PTA until we come up with a better plan on how we're going to support that with the leadership that's always in transition there. So as a council, we will continue to support them, and we had our schools, Eaton High School and Adams Middle School in particular, supported the Teacher Appreciation Weeks, providing meals. Over each quarter, we provided a meal to the teachers and administration at both of those campuses. Some of the things that we're looking forward to doing and that we're talking with Dr. Eddy about in ways that we can support the student services is the potential of a used book fair where we help collect summer reading books to be able to provide for students that otherwise couldn't provide it. The possibility of a bookmobile, maybe getting one of our Suburbans wrapped and taking that bookmobile around to some of our lower income areas where the students might not be able to get to the library during the summer, joining hands with some of our CTE classes and FFA programs to build little libraries to be represented in our neighborhood parks and so forth, to be able to bring books and for them to be available. And then also the potential of maybe a summer camp fair that we would be able to promote our district camps better and other community camps as well. So that is all that I have for y'all. I do want to thank you, Dr. Warren, again for your support, not only of me personally, but of our Council of PTAs. We have a very healthy council and have provided a great deal of support. And I am very excited to introduce Phyllis Grissom, who is also in between kid activities as well today. And Phyllis is our newly elected president that will be replacing me, taking the helm, and she is in, y'all are in very good hands with her. And I look forward to other ways that I'll be able to serve the district in the future.
Thank you, Carrie Ann.
Great.
And we are looking forward to Phyllis. But Carrie Ann, we can't thank you enough for everything you've done. As y'all have heard, Carrie Ann and her husband have about 17 kids in the district, and we appreciate that. But just knowing how busy she is and the time and effort she takes to lead the PTA is phenomenal. So we appreciate it. And board, if we'll walk around, we've got a little gift basket for Carrie Ann to celebrate her leadership as president, and we just want to make sure you know how much we love you.
I was just thinking, the poor person that didn't show up for recognition today that missed their award. So thank you. Well, they pulled my husband off of the grill at least.
No, he's going.
Did you say you were cooking 500 hamburgers? Yeah. Thank you.
Do we need to go back and clean up a motion? What do we need to do?
Date.
The board dates and the signatories. Okay.
So if you turn back to item 6, I need a motion for the signatures and the dates, the first two bulleted items. Yeah, it was my fault.
We do this once a year.
We voted on the representatives, but not the first two bulleted items.
Lillian, will you reread that?
Sure. Do you want me to motion that I motion to approve the board nominating committee's recommendations for the following? Designation of signatories as the president and secretary with the vice president as the alternate, and authorize the district to continue to use the present check signing plate until a new one can be secured. Dates and times for regular monthly meetings as recommended by administration. Do I need to read the others too?
Good.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Roush and a second by Dr. Simpson. All those in favor? Okay, carries 6-0. And I did not mention too, does anyone want to change seats? You have numbers there if you want to draw, or are y'all okay where you are?
Do you want to keep your seat?
Do you want to move? Is everybody okay where they are? Okay, we'll stay like that then. All right. Now, moving to public participation, and I don't believe there are.
Do we have anybody sign up for public participation?
You have the card.
Good.
All right. And next is the consent agenda.
Mrs. Cobb, I move to approve the consent agenda with the removal of G and H as submitted.
Okay. I have a motion by Dr. Simpson and a second by Ms. Hatfield to approve the consent agenda with the removal of G and H for later consideration. All those in favor? 6-0.
Thank you, board.
Moving to discussion action items, resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Northwest Independent School District approving support by the Northwest Independent School District of the Northwest ISD Education Foundation. Dr. Warren?
Board, this is a resolution that we approve every year, and I'll tell you, as a part of the board of NEF and along with Judy, and Judy can definitely make your comments, but our NEF board, our entire NEF organization is doing an outstanding job supporting our staff, supporting our children. A lot of that has to do with the leadership of Emily. She has done a really, really fantastic job going in there and really kind of setting them a purpose of what we're doing, and we really appreciate that. So, Emily, any comments?
Just on behalf of the board, I know they're so appreciative of the support from the school district, and we just ask that you adopt this resolution.
Board, I recommend approval.
Madam President,
Dr. Roush?
I motion to adopt the resolution of the Board of Trustees of the Northwest ISD approving support of the Northwest ISD and the Northwest ISD Educational Foundation.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Dr. Roush, a second by Mr. Hastings. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Carries 6-0.
Thank you, board.
I just wanted to say thank you to NEF for all you do.
Yes.
Okay, next item, guaranteed maximum price for Northwest High School renovations and field house. Dr. Warren?
Board, it's time to get on to our next projects from the 2017 bond referendum. This time it is for Northwest High School. We've got some pretty big projects going around the district. Amen, Sarah? Tommy? And this one is for Northwest High School renovations and the field house. The GMP as it came out is $11,601,979. And Tim, that is actually about a little over $1.5 million below the budget.
That is correct, with a little bit of added library scope that we're able to add to it and still be below. So
nice, very good. Well, that is very good. So, board, I would recommend approval of this GMP.
Mr. McClure, I do have a quick question before I make a motion.
Absolutely.
These were included as part of the bond package, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
These were included in part of the 2017 bond referendum. Yes, sir.
Excellent. Well, in that case, I'm going to move to approve the guaranteed maximum price for Northwest High School renovations and field house in the amount of $11,601,900. $11 million.
We'll take that. I don't know if Pogue will agree to that, but we will absolutely take
here
that.
at Pogue would probably take exception to that. Let me repeat that. $11,601,979 as recommended by the administration.
I second.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Sluter, a second by Mr. Hastings. Any questions or discussion needed? Question?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
Is this going to have a bomb, tornado shelter, excuse me?
Easy.
No, there is no requirement for a tornado shelter on this addition or the new facility.
Anything else? All those in favor? Carries 6-0.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Board.
Okay, next item, second amendment to the Transportation Services Agreement with Reliant Transportation. Dr. Warren?
Board, it is time to renew with Reliant Transportation. This, and of course, this amendment would allow them to use our buses for charter. Ann had asked me a question this weekend about just what that means to us. John's best guess, probably starting after this year when it really cranks up, maybe $500,000 to the district. And so this is definitely a revenue generating prospect that John and Dana helped negotiate, Mark helped negotiate, and Christy. So we really do appreciate that work. And having lived through the last provider, Dana, am I saying this correctly, that we are very appreciative of Reliant's efforts, and so I would recommend approval of the agreement.
Okay. I did have a question about the insurance. Are the buses covered under our insurance district policy or the contractors?
It's the contractors.
Okay, and so they accept responsibility for even like worker comp claims. That's and correct. Any all damage to the buses. That's and correct. Okay.
Any other questions? Dr. Roush? No? Okay.
Madam President?
Dr. Roush?
I motion to approve the second amendment to the Transportation Services Agreement with Reliant Transportation, Incorporated, and authorizing the superintendent or his designee to enter into a contract as recommended by the administration.
I have a motion by Dr. Roush, a second by Dr. Simpson. All those in favor? Carries 6-0.
Thank you, Board. Thank you.
Okay, our next item is possible nominations for the TASB Board of Directors for TASB Region 2, Position A. Does anyone have a nomination or wants to nominate themselves?
That was easy.
Okay. No. Okay. Moving on to reports. April Financial and Investment Report. Dr. Warren?
Mr. Carter.
Good evening. On the financial side of the house, this is as of the end of April, April 30th. Total financial expenses for the month were just shy of $19 million, $18.5 million. Year-to-date expenditures of $144.6 million. We have received most of our revenue, a little bit left to come in from the state, but we reported a little over $200 million in revenue as of the end of April. So revenue is tracking on target, expenditures are tracking on target according to their budgeted amounts. On the investment side, all of our investments do comply with the Public Funds Investment Acts. We had one security mature in for $7.5 million into the Capital Projects Fund to further fund our construction projects. Total investments as of the end of April was a little over $244 million. That is broken up amongst the general funds, special revenue funds, debt service funds, and capital projects. Most all of that money is invested in an investment pool, which gives us obviously 24/7 access to those funds, so it is immediately liquid. We have a little bit of money in our local depositories, and then one treasury left that will mature in May by the time we give you the May investment report. Also, when we give the May investment report, you'll see the $100 million bond sale that did come in on May 23rd. So you'll see those investment balances jump by that amount. And then on our interest earnings, where we always like to see what type of interest we're earning, the total investments earning for April was just over $500 million, $533 million. Excuse me, how about 1,000? Sorry, that's a...
You're about to make us very happy there.
No, Tim's over there going, new facility, yes. And so yes, just about $500,000 for the month and $4.6 million to date. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any reason why we have such a large dollar amount with overnight liquidity?
In tax pool? the 83%. Yeah, so it is invested in one pool right now. We have talked with Tex Pool. They have a prime account, which does offer a higher yield return. They do have a small investment in, well, small, probably almost half of their investments are in commercial paper, which does fall inside our investment policy statement, but it would allow us to earn about a 16 to 17 point spread in a higher rate of return. So it's certainly something we're going to look at in July. And then I do have a meeting scheduled with Texas Class, another investment pool, to maybe throw 1 or 2 months operating expenses out to another pool to further diversify our funds.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Our next report is the demographic report. Dr. Warren?
And I see Mr. Templeton in the room. Bob, good to see you. And thank you for coming again tonight.
You're welcome. Good evening, Board President, members of the Board. It is my pleasure to be with you tonight. I will touch briefly on the economic conditions that we're seeing across the DFW region, and I'll spend a good bit of time talking about the housing market. Well, we continue to be one of the top cities in the country for job growth. In fact, our job growth rate is 3.1%, which is about 115,000 jobs that were created during the last 12 months ending in March. I don't see this changing in the near future. We're still in the early stages of many of the company relocations to the region. So therefore, professional services is a very strong component of the job growth. And it is in that stage where I think we'll have another 2 to 3 years of very steady job growth in the professional service area of the economy. The unemployment rates are very low. 3.9% is the U.S. unemployment rate. The state of Texas is at 3.5, and the DFW MSA is at 3.3. The city of Fort Worth is about 3.6. Anytime you're in that 4% range, you are fully employed, and it can be a little bit of a challenge for the service industries to fill those jobs. The housing market is still doing very well. Our annual start rate across the DFW region is 34,523, so it's still expanding a little bit. I don't expect it to get much higher than that across the DFW region, but Northwest specifically is still expanding. So you will likely see your start rate move up just a little bit more as some of your neighbors to the south, Keller, as they build out, some of that demand is going to continue to shift north. And so as the Carroll School District also builds out, that demand is going to shift north. So the school districts to your south, excluding Eagle Mountain Saginaw does still have a significant amount of vacant land, but their price point is a little bit different. Your price point is closer to what we're seeing in the Keller School District, and you have some product that would be equal to what we're seeing in the Carroll School District as well. Here's just a quick look at the school districts across the state of Texas. There's about 1,000 school districts in Texas. Those dark green school districts, those are the school districts that are growing the fastest. You'll notice a very consistent trend. It's around the major cities of Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, Houston. In fact, you can kind of see a similarity with I-35. Interstate 35 is where the darkest green school districts are located, and then over on Interstate 10, over to Houston, and then up Interstate 45. That triangle represents about 85% of the state's population can be found in that triangle of Texas. Now, one of the other things I'll point out, the rate of growth. You'll notice that bottom graph there is the rate of annual growth. And for about 5 years, we were averaging about 80,000 additional school kids in Texas schools. But you'll notice starting in about 2014, the growth rate started to slow. In fact, this past October, we had growth of only about 32,000 kids in Texas schools. We're still the fastest growing state in the country, but yet the birth rate is causing that drop in the growth. So it's not a function of economy, it is a function of a change in the birth rate, and we're seeing that across the country. Now, you're adding so many households that you're not really feeling that slowdown in kindergarten enrollment because the overall number of families moving into your school district is overshadowing that change in the birth rate. When we look specifically at Regions 10 and Region 11, the school districts, Northwest ISD is outlined there in yellow. We've kind of got a yellow circle around the Northwest School District in Region 11. You are the fastest growing school district in Region 11, far and away. When we look specifically at the school districts in Region 11, Northwest is ranked first. During that 5-year period between 2013 and 2018, you added 5,191 students, which was a percentage growth of 27%. When we look at both Regions 10 and 11, you're the third fastest school district in the greater Dallas-Fort Worth region. Frisco is number one, Prosper is second. Now, Frisco is going to start slowing down, so they are nearing their build-out. They still have about 3 to 4 years of growth, but they've already fallen down the list on annual starts and closings. Here's the ranking report for school districts in the Dallas-Fort Worth region based on annual closings, number of new homes built per year. Northwest is fourth with a closing rate of 1,841. You have 2,978 vacant developed lots ready for builders to build on. You have 31,543 future lots. That's the highest amount of future lots in the DFW region. You'll notice that Frisco, a year ago, was number one. Now they're third, and I predict this time next year they will drop down again. And so they truly are starting to run out of lots and land. Here's the look at the starts and closings by quarter. And you started 493 homes during the first quarter. I do believe we're likely going to be seeing about 2,000 homes in 2019. So in 2019, that number is going to get very close to 2,000 homes per year. During the last 5 years, if I kind of roughly calculate how many homes have been built in your school district, about 7,300 homes have been built during the last 5 years. And if you remember from that map earlier, you added about 5,100 students during that 5-year period. So there is a very strong correlation between the number of homes that are closed and the number of students that you're growing. We're seeing that it's right at that 0.6 to 0.7 ratio of students per house. Now here's a map of your current elementary attendance zones. It does include the new Lance Elementary Zone. Those red elementary zones are closing more than 300 homes per year. The dark orange are closing between 201 and 300 homes per year. The light orange, 101 to 200 homes per year. I've mapped the top 10 most active subdivisions. This is just a real quick way for you to see where a majority of the single-family housing is taking place. Hawthorne Meadows has been your most active with 300 annual closings as of the first quarter. They've got 49 vacant developed lots and only 169 futures, so they're going to move down this list pretty quickly, as is Oak Creek Trails. Oak Creek Trails, they did 222 homes during the last 12 months. They have 64 vacant developed lots and about 325 futures, so they will have a lot supply issue that could slow them down over the short term. But you've got plenty of other subdivisions that have plenty of lots to keep that 2,000 pace going. This is just another way to look at that single-family data. It's in the form of a table. It is based on your current elementary attendance zones. You have 8 elementary zones that are building more than 100 homes per year. And we only have maybe 2 other clients out of our 100 clients that have this kind of picture. The other one is the Comal School District near San Antonio. They're about 600 square miles, and they also have a very similar pattern where they're growing in multiple school zones. So this presents some challenges in that your growth is not in one particular area. It is spread out across the district. Here's just another way to look at the data. This is about a 30,000-foot picture of the district. Those green outlines, green shaded areas are active subdivisions. The yellow are the futures. You've got 2,900 available lots to build on, 31,550 future lots. The areas where you see a red outline, those are neighborhoods where the bulldozers are working to deliver lots. You have 4,800 lots that are in development. That means they will likely be delivered within the next year. Some of those lots will be delivered within the next couple of months. You've got 900 of those lots where they're paving the streets. So they are literally just, weeks away from being delivered to allow for that summer surge in the housing market. Some of the highlights: Pecan Square. It's a Hillwood development, about 3,425 future lots. The groundwork is nearing completion on Section 1, which would have 478 lots. First homes starting this summer, so we do expect homes to start in July. The developer anticipates building about 200 homes in the 2020 year and could get as high as 300 homes per year in 2021. That price range starts at $270,000 and goes up even higher. It's hard to believe, but about $270,000 has become the entry-level price for new home construction in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Some of the other neighborhoods in the area: Harvest, you're very familiar with, 980 total lots that are located within Northwest ISD, 21 homes under construction during the first quarter. They're building about 175 to 200 homes per year. That price range is $275,000 to $320,000. And then just on the east side of I-35, we have Canyon Falls, 983 lots that are located within Northwest ISD, 47 homes under construction. They're building about 150 homes per year, and that price range is $275,000 to $530,000. So you can see over the last couple of years, this I-35 corridor has drastically changed, and it's become one of your strongest housing areas in your school district. Now, moving a little west, off along 114, we've got the Alpha Ranch. It's about 3,000 future lots. Phase 1, the Elizabeth Creek at Alpha Ranch, with about 377 lots. The preliminary plat was approved in 2017. We do anticipate homes starting in the 2021-2022 year. So it's still about a year away before we'll see any action in this part of Alpha Ranch. Then we've got Trails of Elizabeth Creek, 1,211 future lots. The streets paving is taking place in Section 1 with 156 lots. The groundwork on an additional 740 home lots is taking place. Homes will likely start in the fall. So fall of 2019 is when we could see new home activity. There is an Avilla. An Avilla is a new type of community that we're seeing all across the state of Texas. Avillas are single-family homes that are built for rent. So they are not purchase homes. They are being built to rent. They are typically marketed as workforce housing, but time is going to tell as to what we see in terms of yields. We had 3 Avillas open in other school districts this past fall. So we are running the geocodes on those so that we can learn what kind of yields these Avillas are delivering in other school districts that we work with. But we're seeing Avillas pop up all over, so it is becoming a new form of development for these builders. So the builders are going to continue to own them. They are not for sale. They'll just be for rent. Oak Creek Trails at Champion Circle, 1,033 total lots. They started 110 homes in the first quarter of 2019. They're building about 250 to 300 homes a year, but remember, they're kind of starting to run out of lots. So we could see a little bit of a slowdown in Oak Creek Trails before they get their next batch of futures delivered. Next is North Star, 2,124 total lots. The groundwork is underway on 388 lots in Section 1. Homes should be starting by the end of 2019, so also later this fall. Home prices are anticipated to be in the mid to low 200s to up to 450. Wellington, just south of there along 287, 1,679 total lots. There's also about 1,400 multifamily units along 287. We don't have any of the details on the timing of that multifamily. Right now, they are concentrating on the single family. There are 49 homes under construction. Anticipate that they're going to be building about 200 homes per year. Berkshire, which is also south of 287, 760 total lots. The starts have slowed as builders have ran out of available lots. There is groundwork that is nearing completion on about 236 lots in Section 2. We do anticipate the starts to rebound later in 2019. Hawthorne Meadows, just on the east side of 287, 603 total lots, 66 homes under construction. They closed 82 homes in the first quarter. We anticipate that they're going to be building about 275 to 300 homes per year. And then just a little further east from there is the Presidio Apartments, 231 multifamily units under construction, first units leasing mid to late 2020. It is a market rate apartment complex, which means it would have a very high rent rate. We do anticipate a lower student yield out of these apartments. Now, this was just some of the highlights of our single-family activity. We've got a section that we wanted to talk about on the charter schools, is why we kind of shortened this section. This is the transfer data from the TEA transfer report. That top part of that table is showing your transfers into Northwest ISD. You'll notice that you've got a pretty consistent pattern of transfers in. Back in 2013, you transferred in about 487, and this past October, the TEA report shows that you're transferring in about 467. I suspect a majority of these are your employees, children, staff that are coming into the district with their parents. That's a pretty normal practice that we see for a majority of the school districts. That bottom portion is the transfers out. So these are students that reside within Northwest ISD, but they are transferring to either a charter school or a surrounding school district. And what you'll notice is there's been a significant change in this pattern. Back in 2013, you were transferring out about 707 students. And then in 2018, that number has jumped to about 1,440. The biggest factor for the transfers out is the International Leadership of Texas, which accounts for about 465 of the roughly 1,400 transfers. What you'll also notice is there's been a little bit of a change of policy from the surrounding school districts. You'll notice there's been an increase in the Carroll School District as well as an increase in the Keller School District. It's becoming more and more common for school districts to open their boundaries, open their borders, and to be allowing additional students to come in beside the employees. So, when I started doing this 15 years ago, that was pretty much the rule. It was only employees' children that were transferring into districts. But over the last 10 years, I've seen that change significantly as the charter influence has caused school districts to become more competitive or more aggressive in that getting those students. Here's a look at the forecast. We did adjust the forecast slightly from the last time we presented due to the increase that we're anticipating for the housing for the 2019 year. We're forecasting over the next 5 years that the district could grow by 6,715 students. Now keep in mind, I referenced earlier that during the last 5 years that you'd built about 7,300 houses during the last 5 years. In the next 5 years, we're anticipating that that number could get to about 8,000 to 10,000 new homes. We're almost at 1,900 right now. We do think you could get to 2,000 homes per year. So if you build 10,000 homes in the next 5 years, that's what's going to cause your enrollment to grow by about 6,715 students. Now, I've got a section where I'm going to start talking about the charters. We are tracking the charters as closely as we can. We call them, we send them emails, we do everything to try to get that number of where they're going to be opening. This forecast does not show an additional charter opening in your school district in the near future. Should we get word of a location, then we'll make those adjustments as soon as we find out. But right now, the charters that we're tracking in the Dallas-Fort Worth region are much, much further south and are not going to impact Northwest ISD. They're likely going to impact Fort Worth ISD and Birdville ISD. So those are the locations that will be impacted. Here's what the projections look like at the elementary campus level. It does include the Lance opening. Now, you'll notice that Lance number is about 322 for the fall of next year, but that was also one of your most active elementary zones for new home construction. That 322 is going to grow very strongly during the school year. So I suspect it's going to be well over 400 by the time this time next year because of the amount of housing that's going on in that school, in that elementary zone. With this forecast, you'll notice by 2022, so in just 4 years, you're going to have 7 elementary schools that will be beyond capacity. So you are literally growing at about 500 to 700 elementary students per year. And so I don't see that letting up anytime soon just because of the amount of new housing that's taking place within your school district. Here's what it looks like at the secondary level. At the middle school level, Adams Middle School will be your largest middle school next year with about 1,300 students. You'll also notice that by 2022, it's at about 1,700 students, and that the Gene Pike is almost 1,200. I do know you'll be opening campuses in the near future to help relieve the middle schools as well. At your high schools, Byron Nelson gets to about 2,800 in 2021, and Eden High School gets to about 3,175 in the 2021 year. Now, I touched on the charters. The charters have been a growing factor in the enrollment across the state of Texas. You'll notice back in 2011, there was about 149,000 kids enrolled in charter schools in Texas. This past October, we had 316,804 students enrolled in the charter schools. They're growing at about as high as 29,000 in the 2012 year. They're roughly growing about 20 to 24,000 per year. So if you remember, this past October, across the state of Texas, we were growing 32,000, while the charter schools enrollment are growing at about 20,000. Unfortunately, many times they are pulling that enrollment out of districts that aren't growing, and it's creating a more challenging situation for many of the school districts. We map those charter schools. TEA has made it somewhat challenging for us to get the enrollment by campus because of how they mask the grade level numbers. So we end up having to call the charters directly to get their enrollment numbers. We then put them in a database so that we can understand how the charters are growing by region across the state. This next slide just shows you those charter campuses in the Dallas-Fort Worth region. There's about 220 charter campuses operating in regions 10 and 11. In the 2018-19 year, these campuses enrolled about 105,000 students, roughly 7% of the total region's enrollment. There were 11 new campuses that opened within the DFW region in the 2018-19 school year. Total charter school enrollment increased roughly by about 500 students between the 17-18 school year. You know, and you can barely see, you've got roughly 2-3 charters. You've got 3 charters that are right on your border. 2 of those are the International Leadership of Texas, and one of those is the Westlake Charter. Now, what we know about the Westlake Charter is they have recently expanded, but there is now housing that is being built in the city of Westlake. What that will likely cause is, as those families, if they have families that have school children, they will have the first right into that charter school. It will likely start to push out students from Northwest and Carroll because they're going to have their own Westlake families that will be taking up that space. Now, these are the 3 campuses that we are tracking that are going to open in the 2019-2020 school year. It's an Uplift Academy, which is located kind of in West Fort Worth. There's 2 IDEA academies. The IDEA is also in Fort Worth, the IDEA Rise, and then the IDEA Achieve is on 183. They open with new buildings, so they do not move into existing retail space. IDEA is the most aggressively expanding charter in Texas right now. They started in the Valley. They have moved their way up into Austin, San Antonio. They're just starting in Houston and just starting in Dallas-Fort Worth. I expect we'll have probably 6 to 8 IDEA campuses within the next 3 to 4 years. And they have a very aggressive plan of expansion. They do tend to always open with kindergarten through second, and then grades 6. They will add an elementary grade and a middle school grade each year. So I don't want to get into too much of these details, but we literally map the locations. We have to call to interview because it's hard for us to get the information from TEA. When the TEA does send out a notice of a opening of a charter, it is very vague on the location. And it will typically be sent to about 200 school districts. And it can range from far north Dallas, North Fort Worth, to south. And so we typically find out the location through the city's permitting and platting process. The charters do not disclose that information to us when we request it. The other challenge we have is the TEA reports the campus enrollments through different regions. These Harmony schools, even though they're located in regions 10 and 11, the enrollment is actually reported into the Waco campus, so therefore their numbers are not tracked in region 10 and 11, even though that's where their campuses are located. Now, we've adjusted the numbers. This is what the report would look like if you ran it today from TEA. It would show these numbers. But the reality is it looks like this. There's huge differences. You'll notice that Region 11, there's 17,300 more charter students in Region 11 than what is being reported out of the TEA's report for Region 11. This is just another example. This is an aerial photo from January of 2017. You'll notice that yellow outline area, that is vacant land, and 8 months later, they opened a 1,200 student K-8 school in September 5th of 2017. That's how fast they are expanding and building. The schools that they are building are not to the same standards that most school districts build to. Typically, it is tilt wall construction. It's definitely not able to withstand a tornado. But they do. They build them very quickly, very cheaply, and they do not have the same parking requirements, on-site stacking, water retention. Many of the cities are allowing them to get away with different standards than what they require the school district to build to. And this is a little bit of our team's venting as we share with you the challenges that we see from our perspective as we try to help school districts with understanding what's going on. They will move into vacant retail spaces. So now, anytime with our clients, I'm warning Keller right now. Keller ISD, there's an empty Albertsons on Golden Triangle that would be ripe for a charter to come in and occupy that space. So we want to watch that very closely because charters will, the Harmonies, the Uplift, some of those will move into those kinds of spaces very quickly. We send out emails, just to give you an example, and this is illegal, and we are now going to start reporting this to the Attorney General's office because we'll send out an email request for information and they will ask us to identify the purpose of the request. And we now understand that they're not allowed to do that, but it just shows you some of the challenges that we run into with trying to get, and I don't care the students, I'm just trying to really understand the numbers. I want to understand how many they're expanding and where they're locating campuses just so that I can then build that into our models as we work with our school district clients. Well, sorry for the little rant there. The unemployment rate in Fort Worth is below 4%. So we do expect to continue to see very strong job growth, which is going to continue to add to the housing growth surge. Northwest ISD is the fastest growing district in Region 11 over the past 5 years. You're the third fastest growing district in both Region 10 and 11. Pecan Square and the trails of Elizabeth Creek will begin home building within the next 2 to 3 months. The new Curtis Elementary zone has closed more than 500 homes in the last 12 months. We do expect Lance will then be very similar in its amount of growth that it's going to see. The future Lance Elementary is expected to open this fall with more than 320 students. I really believe it is going to be more than that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, during the year, elementary parents tend to move in throughout the year. So that school will grow all year long. Northwest ISD can expect an increase of about 6,700 students during the next 5 years. That's a result of the approximately 10,000 new homes that will be built in the next 5 years. And in 10 years, Northwest ISD is projected to enroll 37,815 students for the 2028-29 school year. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Go take a blood pressure pill now.
Okay, our next report is Facilities Planning and Construction Monthly Report. Dr. Warren?
And
Sarah's going to go. I just want to take a real quick minute. Bob, I just wanted to thank you real quickly. Board, about 3 years ago, I started pushing on Bob to start tracking apartment data for us, because we traditionally had not been a district that tracked that. And we've been visiting a lot lately. They're putting a lot of work to the charter school. That's not going to be a part of your normal report. That's a very extended report this time. But I just wanted him to be able to bring that forward to you today and show that that's something we're going to start tracking as well, just like the apartment data. They're on the outskirts. You look at that map and you see the 3 that are on the edge. As we continue to get that development and that housing in, we will see more of them move in. And I just wanted you to be aware that we are tracking that, and you'll probably see that depth of a report probably once a year from Bob, not at every level. But I just want to take a minute to thank him and explain that to the board.
Bob.
We appreciate him for that. Sarah?
Sarah, please.
Good evening. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. Just want to give you an overview of where we are in the planning department. Currently, we are working on the aquatic center, working on our numbers and hopefully bringing that for an approval next month so we can get started on that center. We have the Eaton 3-story addition, still working on that. That is included with 2 middle schools in that project, and then there's a 3 middle school project separate from that. So all 5 middle schools, we're doing fine arts additions, and then Eaton 3 stories. This summer, we're hoping to do the first phase of Eaton, getting all the utilities and GOLs moved while the kids are gone. And so we'll be bringing that to you guys hopefully next month as well. Here's an overview of our construction projects that are active right now throughout the district. This is just a view of our field house. This is a picture taken last week. They are moving as fast as they can. The weather has not been on our side when it comes to our construction projects, but they are moving as fast as they can. We're about 75% on the inside and outside of this facility. Just to give you a few shots throughout, this is closer up. They've started on the brick a couple weeks ago. They're working on the harder, more difficult areas, and then hopefully they will move around that building pretty fast where we'll have it all bricked in the next couple weeks. Just give you a shot of our steps that we are going to the second level. This is where we have a flat area over our storm shelter that is, you can walk out. It's connected by our weight room. We have overhead doors that go out to this space so athletics can move out there and do agility work as they're working in the weight room. There's also a turfed strip. It's marked as a football field so they know the distance so kids can do some running, jumping, whatever you guys do in athletics. But it's going to be it'll be a great facility for them. Just wanted to give you a few, some views. It's not pretty inside. We're working pretty hard. But this is a view in the coach's office. They're looking outside to the practice fields northwest of this facility. And then this is a view of their meeting room where they actually can see the practice fields to the left, and then this is the sub-varsity stadium that's just outside the school. Sorry for the dark pictures. This is the weight room. As you can see, the large openings that are on the far side of the picture, that's where our overdoors will be, to where the coaches can open them up. They can see the kids outside on the patio, running, doing what they are supposed to be doing, as well as inside the weight room.
Moving to the classroom addition, we are working on, right now, the fine arts. We are expanding the band hall and orchestra currently. We're about 75% on the CMU, where we'll have steel starting hopefully next week, pending rain. And this portion actually will be open for August, start of school. Just moving out towards the courtyard where we used to have the fire lane that went up to the library. This is just a view. You can see some of the piers that are in there working on the grade beams. Just another view. And then we have Lance Thompson. This school is going pretty well, pushing as hard as we can to get so we can get the staff in as soon as possible. Just to give you perspective, these are renderings that we have. Last month I showed you this picture. This month we've got windows. So we're closing up the building, putting finishes on. Sorry again for the dark pictures. When you take a picture towards a window, you don't get the best image, but I wanted to give you guys that progress. So this is, again, the library, but the other side. This was last month, and this is this month. As you can see in the ceiling, they're starting the green trees, as we have been showing you guys throughout the process, facing the library. Or here's the cafeteria rendering. There's last month, and then here we have this month. We've got painted, the deck is paint, ductworks paint, just do a little touch up on the walls. Around the stage we have the tile up, and it's actually gone pretty far from last week from where we were. So here's another perspective in the courtyard. That was last month, and then this is this month, starting to grade out around the building to get prepped to finish that out and get some irrigation and sod down. Just another perspective, this is from the stage, looking out. In the middle of that picture, you can see our platform on the second floor where we have steps where people are able to sit up there if we have any performances or awards. Parents can also sit up there for an overflow. And just a typical classroom, this is our kindergarten classroom. As you can see, there's a restroom on the right side of the picture, but we're starting to clean up all the areas, and we're actually putting carpet down in our classrooms. So that means it's almost finished. This is the back side of the school. I haven't given many pictures of that, but we just finally got our back drive in completely. It's connected to the road that Hillwood is currently working on in that phase of work. But this is where the buses will be dropping off the students, and that's a direct entrance into the cafeteria. Next projects are Sendera and J.C. Thompson. Those are our typical additions, making it from 650 to 850 schools. Again, at Thompson, we have addition at the front of the building, just because of the Sendera, just because of the lack of the space on the extended of the wing, because we have the road there. And then Sendera, we were able to have space for kindergarten. Here's kindergarten. And the inside, working on the overhead, ductwork, sprinklers, getting that taken care of so we can start working on going down the walls, closing those up. So this was last month. This is this month. Just a few last month, this month pictures, just to give you guys the progress that we're working on. Again, the rain has not been on our side, but Tommy and I have actually been working with the contractor very tight on getting their schedule, agreeing with the subs, making sure that they're committing to our projects so we can get them finished by the start of school. And then again, our safety and security upgrades, we're continuing to put up our walls so we don't have direct walk-in to our offices, which gives them access to the facilities. And this is just Northwest High School, the east entrance, and just the other side of the view. And then I just wanted to remind you we have our construction website, so if you have any questions on where we are, what projects we're doing, where we are planning, it's there. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, our next item 12 is to consider any item removed from the consent agenda, and we have two. So if you would turn back to the consent agenda, we're looking at item G, student-teacher letter of agreement with Western Governors University. Dr. Warren?
Board, Ann and I talked about this weekend. And make sure I say this right, Ann. I mean, in talking to Dr. Cayley about this, you know, the organizations contact us when they have their students who are needing to have their practicums with us, their student teaching experiences with us, and we're very glad to do so. We unless there's something really that we know something is wrong with the organization, we actually try to bring it, because most of these times these are local folks who are going through these programs, and I think it's Ann's contention that this is just not the most reputable, effective programs that she had heard of, but I have absolutely no data to support that why we would not let those folks do their experience in our campuses or in our classrooms.
It's not so much about reputable, but both of these, both G and H, are online teacher preparation programs. Am I correct? Okay. And so I would be curious to know what our data is with regard to online teacher preparation programs, because one of the things that we know that's important in teacher preparation, and this student teaching is so important, is that they need supervised practica before they get to student teaching. Otherwise, our teachers are having to spend an inordinate amount of time doing what would have been done in coursework in regular traditional teacher education programs. And so to me, the concern is, are we monitoring our online teacher preparation programs? Are they requiring our teachers who are doing the supervised practica to have to give more time? And again, our goal is to recruit and retain, and I think this is very important because we want the highest quality personnel in our district, and so I'm very supportive of student teaching, but I'm also concerned about how we're monitoring the quality of all online teacher preparation programs, and if our teachers who are serving as mentors are required to do more time with these students, or maybe it's the same. So these are questions, they're not answers, but I think as we go forward, we need to be very, pay close attention to our teacher preparation programs. I know that we develop relationships with many of our teacher preparation programs in the area, and whether it's UNT or TWU or Texas Christian University, we have so many wonderful universities in this area, and I just think we need to be cautious about doing our research around purely online teacher preparation programs, and if in fact it is creating more of a demand on our teachers as mentors, because in essence it could be asking them to be university faculty and the mentor teacher. So that's my concern.
And we do try to develop relationships with all of our teacher preparation programs. In Texas, there's 154 teacher preparation programs, and the alternative certifications programs have more than double the teacher applicants than our university programs do. So we do work with them very closely. With Western Governors, we have 2 parents that are Northwest ISD parents right now that are attending that have requested to do student teaching placement within our district. And so we wanted to be able to work with our parents because we feel like they will be some good candidates to get some good training with us. And with iTeach, we actually had 2 individuals that one did a long-term maternity leave assignment last year in our district, and the other one also did her observations for iTeach, and they both requested. So we have a total of 4, 2 for Western Governor and 2 for iTeach. And we have not heard from our teachers that work with these students that there is any more additional work that they're doing than any other student teacher placement program. Any other questions?
And all of our teacher placement programs are really good too. The majority that we work with is UNT and TW. Those are our two top that we give priority to. If there's ever a placement that we can't make because they need to have, somebody with a certain number of years of experience, ESL certification, if we can't do it, our teacher programs are very good to work with us and try to find another school district.
Okay, Board, I'd recommend approval of G.
Do we want to include G and H?
Christy, can we do it both at the same time? Yes, you may.
Madam President, I move to include G and H that were pulled off the original consent agenda, to approve those as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Sluter and a second by Mr. Hastings. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Okay, all those opposed? 5-1.
Thank you, Board.
Moving on to next item is Board President's Report. Reminder that the TASB Summer Leadership Institute, SLI, is June 20th through 22nd at the Omni Hotel in Fort Worth. And the Visioning Conference Board Dinner is June 19th in McKinney. And please let Jennifer know if you plan to attend. That's all I got. Dr. Warren.
Board, it is graduation season. This coming Friday, we have the wonderful seniors from Still Accelerate High School. Lillian will be graduating in the Northwest Pack at 7 p.m. And Jennifer, what time do we need to be? Where'd Jennifer go? She's not over here. Jennifer, what time do we need to be at the high school for that? Do you remember?
6-something.
6:45. Okay, so be at the pack, and we will be wearing our robes, full regalia for Still Accelerate High School, and then all day Monday we'll have Eaton first at 10 o'clock, Northwest High School at 2 o'clock, and Byron Nelson at 6 o'clock in the University of North Texas. If you are driving to graduation, make sure that Jennifer has placed a folder with Jennifer has placed a folder with the parking passes and directions at your place. Everyone else will carpool just like we always do. 8:30. We will pull out at 8:30 and beat the traffic. Mrs. Kopp, that's all I have.
So, I'm looking